a word on the Galle pitch. It's probably the ugliest that I have seen.
And most certainly, when it comes to Kusal Mendes, I would say that he needs to sit out.
I might be inclined to play Roshen Silva instead of Niroshan Dickwella.
When it comes to Dinesh Chandimal or Kusal Janithara keeping wickets, I have not seen them keep wickets even in first class system.
Hello and welcome to ThePapare.com. It's we are discussing about the England versus Sri Lanka Test series. The first Test match, England won comprehensively by 7 wickets. Their fifth straight win in Sri Lanka. So to discuss everything about the first Test and about the upcoming second Test, I have with me Farveez Maharoof and Russel Arnold as usual. Russell, a very disappointing outing. This is not what we've expected of Sri Lanka in home conditions.
Certainly not. The fact remains that over the last few years, if you really go through how Sri Lanka have been playing, they've been playing good cricket in patches. Even in South Africa, there were certain times that they were competing, that they were very good. You can't deny the fact that Test cricket is over 5 days, and you have to play well right through. You have to work your way into a game, and it's no secret that the hard work you do early counts later on in the Test match. That's the advantage and how it tends to even out. And Sri Lanka, knowing this, should have really showed up for the first 2 days of play. The result would have been very, very different. Winning the toss, batting first, it's a no-brainer in the subcontinent, especially in Galle, but that doesn't mean it gives you the right to score runs. You have to apply yourselves. You have to work hard. And I always keep saying, don't target the 400, 450. Stay competitive. Get 250, 275 and stay in the game. You will give yourself a very good chance. So really, really disappointing with a lot of the dismissals and the application shown early.
Russell spoke about the dismissals. Out of the first innings, 10 wickets, I think about 8 of the dismissals were not taken by the English bowlers. Yes, it was very good bowling, but very casual batting, you could say, right?
Yeah, correctly so. I mean, when you throw wickets in a first inning, especially test when you're like Galle, where the first inning score definitely matters. You know how it's going to play on the fourth or the fifth day at Galle. So I mean, when you give figures like that, you're bound to lose a test match, and also in a first day of a test match, you won't win a test match, but you certainly will lose. That's a example that I could give in, and also as you just mentioned, Damith, some of the way some of the players applied themselves, like reverse sweeps and playing extensive shots early morning and falling into trap on the leg side. I mean, it's just not good enough for test level. So players need to think long and hard about their game, and especially in the second innings. We saw when you put the price on your wicket, how it becomes pretty, I wouldn't say easy, but definitely the results to be seen. So I reckon Sri Lanka, always we have started badly for a series, and that's continued same. I mean, we lost the test match in the first day itself, and overall it's a bit of a disappointment, got to be said.
Russell, Kusal Mendes avoided, they say, the Olympics, 5 ducks, but still he looked under a lot of pressure when he was batting in that second innings. So, how do you see him coming out of this situation? What should the selectors do? Maybe leave him out for the second test, or maybe he goes back into domestic cricket. What do you think he should be doing back to get what he's? We usually see him as a very free flowing batsman, but we don't see him like that anymore.
That's because the pressure is on, and we all know when you're struggling for runs that sometimes whatever you do, it just doesn't come off. To me, it's a no-brainer. He needs a break. You give him a break, take it from there. Yes, we know that he's one of the most talented players, instinctive type of cricketer, and he can be a game changer. He will be. So it also comes down to looking at how well he is mentally prepared, that mental sharpness to go ahead. So he just needs a break. He needs to Not, I mean, I wouldn't go to the extent of saying that he should be sent off to domestic cricket. If he can play, it'll be good. But at this stage, we might not have those options, but definitely should be taken out of the firing line. And even in the past, with some of our better players, we've seen that happen. Mahela Jayawardena, we've seen that happen, and it comes out good because you freshen up mentally, you get an outlook from the outside, and you know exactly what to do, and the feeling within changes. So I reckon Kusal Mendis really does need that right now.
Maha, talking about some of the positives, we only had maybe Lasith Ambuldenia bowling really well as the leading spinner, but I don't think players like Dilruwan Pereira, Vanidu Hasranga did quite well up to their standards. Is it because Hasranga playing his first test in Sri Lanka and Dilruwan, of course, is a very experienced campaigner? So, do you think the two spinners didn't help Ambuldenia that much in terms of bowling in the first innings?
Yeah, definitely. I think in terms of partnership in bowling, we didn't see that well during the first innings, especially. That's no wonder 400 runs were scored on a bit of a tricky wicket. I mean, got to be said, England batted well, but we didn't bowl that well. And also, as Russell mentioned before, you need to be more consistent in Test cricket. You cannot have a good session in patches or good hours in patches, good few overs in patches. You need to be more consistent in applying the pressure. So I reckon when it comes to Dilruwan Pereira, yes, he bowled well in some spells, but overall, I thought Dilruwan could have. I mean, the standards he has set, he didn't reach those standards. Maybe he hasn't played for a long time. He didn't play in South Africa, playing a test match after close to a year. So that could have been a factor. When it comes to Vanidu Hasaranga, he's still raw. I mean, so we saw him bowling glimpses in South Africa. I mean, all of a sudden he's in Sri Lanka, lots of weight in your shoulders. He just didn't come out right. Maybe the slowness of the wicket didn't help him that much. So I reckon he needs to pull up his socks. He needs to perform well because he's playing as a number 7 batter as well. I mean, his batting is also going to be very key. A number 7 in a test match, test squad is a very vital role. That's where the balance is. So I reckon on his young shoulders, there's a lot of responsibilities. I mean, if someone can do it, spinning all rounder, that's Vanidu Hasaranga at the moment. So I back him completely to come good in the second innings. But all of a sudden, when you don't have your senior spinner bowling well, the team score 400. So that was a bit of a disappointment.
Russell, you spoke about the consistency in Test cricket. Lahiru Thirimana, after 37 games, just averaging over 22, but he got 100 in the second innings. Do you think he'll kick on from here and maybe capitalize on these opportunities he gets?
Yeah, you got to say it was a quality 100. It wasn't easy conditions. A word on the golf pitch, it's probably the ugliest that I have seen. There were lots of places where it had crumbled. There was hardly a good spot that you could spot as a bowler. Ball was spitting. It was all happening slowly. So that's why I think the batsmen were able to adjust and they were looking to play off the back foot, which the bowlers allowed them to do. But saying that getting 100 on those conditions, under those conditions, were a very commendable effort, and hopefully it gives Thirimana that confidence to go on and on. So looking forward to Thirimana backing it up. The second test is going to be really, really crucial for him because to take that form forward. And Andrew Fernando, our good friend, said that Thirimana is so much in debt to Sri Lanka cricket, and even if he gets 100, he'll still be in debt. So it's a feeling like that. But I hope Thirimana doesn't think of that, just focuses on his game and tries and makes it count because it's going to be crucial for Sri Lanka. Just going back to the point you asked, Maha, I'd like to touch on the fact of the bowling. With 135 on the board, it's very difficult. You cannot be patient and work your way through. So when we are judging our bowlers, we have to be a little careful. If we had 250, 275, England wouldn't have been able to bat that freely. And also the Sri Lankan bowlers would have been able to stay more patient. But yes, I got to agree that Dilruwan Pereira, we've seen him bowl a lot better. And he just seems to be losing a little bit of control. We need a lot more from him. And I wouldn't be tempted to look beyond Dilruwan Pereira, and also Hasran because of his leg that drops. He's a wicket-to-wicket bowler, doesn't get a lot of bounce. you need to use some flight in Test cricket. So I'm not 100% convinced that he is the bowler we need in Test cricket.
So all in all, first is we have to move on from that horrible batting performance in the first innings, which caused the defeat. And Maha, second test, do you see any changes? As Mickey Arthur, the head coach, said after the first test match in the post-match press conference, Dimuth Karunaratne is unlikely to play the second test match as well. But Suranga Lakmal, Oshad Fernando, Lahir Kumara, they are all fit now. So do you think there'll be a couple of changes in the Sri Lankan lineup?
I think most certainly when it comes to Kusal Mendes, I would say that he needs to sit out and straight away like to like swap would be Osunda Fernando, being Dimuth Karunath still not being fit enough to make the 11. And when it comes to Surang and Lahiru, I reckon it'll be a tough call, especially with the way Asita Fernando bowled. I mean, you have to consider the fact that in the last test in South Africa, you have a bowler in Vishwa Fernando taking 5 wickets, and he's been left out. And you play Asita Fernando, and Asita Fernando does well as well. And straight away, Surang Lakmal gets fit. I know that he's our senior bowler, but Vishwa Fernando having five wickets in his pocket and sits out in the test match of the first test of a series, and you play Asita Fernando, who also bowls well. So where does the policy go again? That's a question that I have to ask the selection policy, right? Not too sure how it's going to happen. So I mean, if you ask me, my opinion, I think Asita Fernandez should get another go, especially because the pace he bowled, the control he had, being the lone fast bowler. So I reckon he will continue. And I'm still not convinced whether we should have a fast bowling all round at 8. Either it has to be a genuine fast bowler who's going to bowl more than 135. And you saw how England used their fast bowlers. I mean, even on a slow track like Galle, fast bowlers still can do a job. So I reckon that's another position up for debate, playing a genuine fast bowler there, or maybe even a batsman. That's another risk you could take. But if a batsman plays at number 7, you're only playing one fast bowler. So there's a lots of ifs and buts. I mean, I'm not too sure how it's going to happen, but personally, I would like to see another fast bowler there who's going to bowl 135 and back it up with Asita Fernando.
Russell, what's your thought on the possible team for the second test?
Yeah, there are a few places that you would like to discuss. Of course, another point that will come up is: do you want to make so many changes? Do you want to make lots of changes going into the second test? Because there are positions not only in this test but over the period of time where application and continuity has been in question. You also got to think of how you're going to balance the attack and what you're going to get out of it. There's bad news coming out of the Sri Lankan team. Of course, one is that Dimuth Karunaratne probably won't play, as you have mentioned. Not sure of the policy, Maha, but yeah, for me, Oshada Fernando to open, Tirimana at 3 instead of Kusal Mendes. I might be inclined to play Roshen Silva instead of Niroshan Dickwella. You have Kusal Pereira and Dinesh Chandimal who can keep. I will stick with Dasun Shanaka. Got a half century in South Africa. Give him another go just to get that nibbly effect. Ramesh Mendis at 8. Stick with Ambuldenia. Back Lakshan Sandakan and stick with Asita Fernando. That's what I'll be inclined to do.
But Russell, Dasun Shanaka bowled only 7 overs in that test match. And of
Yes.
course, Dickwella, he's yes, he spilled a couple of chances, but still, I think, in my opinion, humble opinion, he's our best test wicket keeper. So, do you still drop him?
It's more on the lines of the batting. At number 6, I reckon the way he is, sometimes plays is a little casual. Even in that second innings, there were quite a few dismissals that were to casual shots you would play in the nets on a synthetic, on a cement. So as the test match goes on, you do have to consider what options are available to you. Best example, how Angelo Matthews changed his game. it was a real struggle. It was a real grind. It was his second slowest half century, but he dug in. So that's the type of resolve you need to suit the conditions. So on those lines, I'm just thinking bring in Roshen Silva, more solidity, and back him to grind his way through, because we have to think about the pitch, which is only 2 strips away. How much the groundsman's been able to water it during this period. Yes, he's got 2-3 days in between, but generally the work has to be done a week before. So the next pitch also can turn and bounce a bit. So it's a line of thinking. It's a line of also telling the players, look, that's not good enough. I reckon it's a fair comment, a fair message to be given, and yeah, try and see if we can dig deeper.
Finally, Maha, do you think Sri Lanka can square the series and hopefully give something to cheer for the Sri Lankan fans?
Yeah, just on before coming that, just on Russell's ideas. Those now we're talking about continuity. Now you give one test match suddenly. I mean, Dilruwan Perra all of a sudden goes out. Where does the experience come in? Because you got Lasith Temuldeni hardly have, not even played 10 test matches, and also Sandakan, sometimes don't even find a place in the first class 4-day setup. How can he's straight away coming to a test match? And how do you justify that? And also, when it comes to Dinesh Chandimal or Kusal Janithara keeping wickets, I have not seen them keep wickets even in first class system. So all of a sudden, playing a test match and playing a test match as a wicket keeper, it won't be that easy, because I know for a fact Dinesh Chandimal only played purely as a batsman the entire last season, as well as Kusal Janithara most of the season couldn't play because of an injury, and he only kept wickets. Both those guys only kept wickets during LPL. So I understand Roshen Dickwella hasn't been performing well with the bat, and also a couple of chances were missed out wicket keeping. But at the moment, he's our best wicket keeper. Unless if we want to make a change, you have to play another wicketkeeper batsman. I mean, I'd love to have Roshen Silva in the team. I just don't fit him in this team because you got Dinesh Chandimal and Angelo Matthews batting so well there. You cannot have Roshen Silva in the squad as far as I'm concerned. And also talking about the series leveling, I still hope, I still have the belief that our guys can do it. It all depends on the first things, and every time if you take the history, most of the time we lose a test match in the first innings, except for test match in Centurion where we scored 400, but still we lost. We have to start with whether we bat or bowl. I mean, we have the tendency of coming to the game pretty late. That has been costing us dearly if you take the last few years. So, this has to be addressed. This has to be corrected quickly if we need to lose another whitewash in 2-0. So I reckon overall, if you ask me, Damith, I think I still have the belief that we could do it. It all depends on how we're going to start on the first day.
Russell, finally, what's
Yep.
your
Yep. Yeah. I told you it's not about policies. It's about gut, and it's about what players have done and players can do. We can stick to policy. We can keep going. We can go on the fact that we need continuity. We need this. We need that. But this is the fact at the end of the day. For me, I think Sri Lanka have the capability to do it, but you can't perform in patches. That's the bottom line. Even if we looked at the first test, you take the second innings alone. I did mention we had a lot of soft dismissals, but still 360 on that pitch is a very, very good batting performance. It's only in the context of the game, it was not enough. And even first innings, if I look closely at the bowling, for me, where it really got away for Sri Lanka was they were very poor in that partnership from the start against Joe Root and Dan Lawrence. That's the partnership that took the game away from Sri Lanka. So these are areas, little areas. If we are more tighter, I think we can get ahead. I think the capability is there. It just comes down to what you want to do with it, do with your capabilities.
Yes, we all know Sri Lanka team is a very talented team, a capable team, as Russell and Farveez said. But it all comes down to how they execute their plans in the second game, which starts on Friday. So we hope Sri Lanka square off the series and probably put up a better performance than the in the first test. So thank you very much, Farveez and Russell. A lot to look forward in this second game. All the fans, all everyone involved in Sri Lanka cricket will be hoping for a better performance from the guys. So thank you very much, Russell and Farveez, for joining with us.
Yes,
We hope to hear from you,
yes, Damit.
hopefully, after a win next week. That's it on thepapare.com for now. So hopefully we will bring you very good news from Galle after the second test. So stay tuned to thepapare.com as we bring all these news, photos, videos from the Sri Lanka versus England test series. So thank you very much for watching.
For premium content and exclusive member benefits, subscribe to thepapare.com today.